Hey guys, welcome to the Driveway Liberty Podcast, the only podcast live stream from a driveway. I am your Uncle Wes, and I'm sitting here with my good friends Travis and Dan, man, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. But before we do that, let's go around the table. Let's talk to our fellas here. What's up, Daniel? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good now. Sunday morning, I was feeling a little rough.
Right.
We kind of had a board meeting in the garage.
Yeah,
Right.
it was raining, so we couldn't.
Pouring
do the driveway.
rain. We
Yeah.
did it in the garage on Saturday, and
We solved a lot of the world's problems.
we did, and we overachieved.
And listened to a lot of good rock and roll from a variety of
We did.
Yeah, we did.
decades and
Yeah.
genres.
That's right.
Yep. And then we listened to Dan sing along with said rock and roll.
Yeah, we played some music and pounded some beers and some whiskey.
Right.
And I felt it on Sunday.
Mm,
It was fun.
I think we all did a little bit.
Every once in a while, you just kind of gotta have one of those relaxing, chill
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I wish I'd have been able to do that. I had a lot to do Sunday, and I all I did was walk around most of the day, wishing I could just take a nap.
I'm talking about Saturday. Saturday,
Oh.
just hanging out. We started early too.
Yeah, it was
Well,
relatively.
y'all started a
early.
good bit earlier than I
Yeah,
did.
we did. We had been
Normally
there.
we do
Yeah,
those
y'all were a
things.
solid.
it's
I think I was like 6:15, but y'all were 5:15, 5:30.
yeah, normally those kind of nights start at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, or whatever.
I've
This one
developed
started at
a
like 5.
fear of my wife wanting me to do something that I don't want to do.
So you got to get out of the house.
So as soon as we talked about getting together, I'm like, all right, baby, I'll see you later. I'm out. Going to hang out.
Yeah.
My stock excuse is Travis Dan, they've been trying to get me to go out for the last 3 weeks, and I've just kind of been hanging out on the couch. So I need to be a good friend and go over here and hang out. So Travis, how you doing, buddy?
So I had a little bit of some internal struggles last week or so.
Yeah.
So I have a bidet now. So
I saw
I'm
it.
better than most everybody.
Well,
If you invite me to something and I don't attend, you can probably assume that it's because I'm just better than you, because I have a bidet now. However, okay, I was thinking about this the other day. You know the old idiom of if you shake it more than 3 times, you're playing with it?
yes.
I don't know if there's one for a bidet, but I did realize the other day that I think there's a real fine line between I'm getting the undercarriage clean and now I'm a Bud Light drinker. And so I need another idiom that's easy to remember, so I kind of know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Did you get the heated one?
I mean, it's relatively feels good.
Well, it's Florida.
Yeah. I mean,
warm weather, so it
I,
won't be
I,
too bad.
I did think to myself the other day, man, if this thing had a little pulsating, I'm like, okay, that's probably a little too far. That's probably like that's.
If it had a finger, that,
Yeah.
I bought one during the toilet paper scare of 2020,
yeah.
and it's in the closet. I haven't installed it. It's just a backup plan.
Okay. Well, I use mine regularly, and I think the thing's laser sighted because I mean,
It's accurate.
It's pretty accurate.
Ow! The first time I was like, hey, and it was like, okay, that's a lot better.
It takes a minute to get used to it.
Yeah, uh-huh.
There you go. So what we want to do first and foremost is thank each and every one of you for watching and sharing the broadcast with your friends and family in advance. So go ahead and do that now. That's a good time. That way they can also join in the discussion tonight. So what we would like to do, we're going to kind of switch things up a little bit tonight. It's not going to be all news related, or it may. You know, this is very organic, so it could
We
go somewhere.
we didn't talk about this, and it's kind of current events, but I think it's an overall, just like it's a strategy thing that we've talked about, right?
Yeah.
And so we've talked a little bit about the Bud Light stuff,
Mhm.
right? None of us were Bud Light drinkers, anyways. I've never been a big Anheuser-Busch fan,
No.
just any of their products, and then they bought InBev, so it kind of muddied the waters a little bit. And so I think it was like $6 or $7 million in market cap they lost.
Yes.
And then it starts to come out, I think Friday, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere around there, that Anheuser-Busch, not the company itself, but employees, executives, are big Republican donors, and a lot of people started to come out and say, hey, we've made our point. These are donors to the cause. Let's let's drop it and move on.
Yeah, Donald Trump Jr. was one of those individuals.
Well,
Yeah.
drop her, him, he, she, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Drop that person, and we'll move on.
And see,
The point's not made until they felt the pain of the point.
right.
I don't care who you donate to. You do that,
Well,
and you deserve to feel it.
So my first thought is kind of like the Joker from The Dark Knight. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message,
Right.
and it's about. I mean, look, when we talk conservatives, and typically, like, there's a lot of Bud Light drinkers that are
Yeah.
Republican voters,
Sure.
and like that's part of their lifestyle.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like,
just think of how they marketed that beer previously.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the every Sunday football, Saturday football. all
No, they market it as a man's beer.
Yeah. It's always
Real
been.
man of genius.
Yeah.
I mean that was their whole ad campaign
Yeah.
for several years. The Clydesdale
The
was
Clydesdale,
more of a Budweiser thing than a Bud
Yeah.
Light thing.
Still
So-
the same company.
But I'll tell you what, man, I have seen more Bud Anheuser-Busch commercials in the last week
I'm sure.
with Clydesdales and Real Men of Genius or whatever that was not Mulvaney related. Is there?
It's just a bird and a squirrel.
Bird,
Okay.
landed on the roof right above your head.
All right, probably shit on that. All right, but I mean, I have seen an escalation of that, almost like they're trying to drown out this stuff.
And they are. And here's there's the two main points, right? And the first one is, if we're beholden, if as a party or a movement, whatever, we're going to be beholden to somebody that donates, and we're not going to hold them accountable. As a matter of fact, I completely disagree. I think you hold that person even more accountable,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they've said they're on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not acting like it.
Right. Go back
It tells
to,
me they just have too much money.
well, go back to my reference of the Revolutionary War. Who do we hate more? Cromwell, that was the British general, or Benedict Arnold, that was
Right.
a traitor?
Right.
Well, everybody's going to tell you Benedict Arnold,
Yep.
right? If you're supposed to be on our side, then you got to pay the price.
So Matt Boyd, buddy of mine from Nationwide, we were talking about that pre-show. He said even the Clydesdales are drinking Coors now.
That's funny. And then the second part of that is it's commitment level.
Yes.
We talked about it recently with Afghanistan. We've talked about it with anything. Like, are we committed to what we say as whether it's America First or MAGA or whatever the hell, Liberty Movement? Are we actually committed to what we say we're committed to? And this was the easiest culture war battle in history.
Yeah.
Just buy a different beer, man.
That's all you have to do.
Like, you don't have to stop drinking beer. We're not saying, like, beer didn't do anything wrong.
No,
Just one brand of beer. And there's many brands of beer out there.
lots of them. Well, it's you talk about the commitment. You're absolutely right. Public memory is short. We say we're going to boycott this, and this is more of a right thing than a left thing. And I've got a way that I'm going to bring this home in just a second. But like you're saying, it was a week. They lost $6-7 billion in market cap. All right, cool. Let's go for $25 billion, and let's make them realize that they are not going. You go woke, you go broke. That's the rule.
Right.
Make you never ever think about doing this again.
And we need to stand by that principle and be unwavering in that.
Yeah.
Whereas, all right, so we've got some friends that are in the Walton Women's Republican Federated here locally that went to the state conference in Tallahassee over the weekend. And I was talking to one of them earlier today, and she was telling me they are bringing protesters in by the busload to protest the abortion bills and the gay, the transgender stuff and all of that. I mean, they are bringing them in, and they are committed to their cause. Now, I don't want to necessarily get into the philosophical that I wanted to bring up later.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But this fits right into that.
Yeah,
it really does.
And to me, the point is, like, when you get easy wins, okay, we're just at a point in our country, at least if you believe in any kind of freedom or liberty,
Right?
or just not crazy stuff, there's no easy wins out there.
No.
This is a slam dunk.
This is
easy win.
Man, this is the easiest win you can get.
Just find another beer and look. If they lose enough market cap that the marketing girl gets asked to pursue another career opportunity, and they come out and apologize like, yo, our bad. Okay, cool. Like that.
Right.
That's when you stop. Like
Yes.
you make their ass quit. Like
You don't just make them quit. You make them publicly quit. Like you're
Yes.
saying, come out and say, our bad, well, this was a mistake. We shouldn't have done this.
But it's also an easy win, but it's also an opportunity to send a message to any other company that wants to do something.
No,
stupid like
you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just
take
like
advantage of it. Drive it home.
we had a local situation where a place where we had held meetings that I'm not going to mention for a year. Just all of a sudden, just like the day before a meeting, said, hey, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. We're canceling this event. An event with a sitting congressman.
Yeah.
Well,
Have you been there since then?
I have not,
Neither
and
have
I won't go back. But the thing is the day after, we had a plethora, a shit ton of local businesses calling saying, hey, you know what, y'all can meet here.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you here.
Mhm.
And that goes to show you that those businesses are out there and they are watching this stuff. And local mom and pop breweries here that may be on the left side, they're watching this.
Yeah.
And they're like, and if you want to stay apolitical, cool, do that. If you don't want to lean right or left, that as a business, I get that because your clientele is a divert. It should be diverse.
That's the preference. The preference is you're a business. Just sell beer.
Just stay at it.
If you didn't get in, if these companies did not get involved in the culture war, they would not be held accountable for their views of the culture
Correct.
war.
Yes.
Stay out of it. Do your thing. Worry about beer. Don't pull this bullshit where you've got some tranny person acting like a stereotypical. It's almost like blackface. The way this person acts, like a child girl jumping around like some kind of freaking idiot.
Well, and that person has an audience that averages about 16 to 17 years old. So you chose to market this to underage children.
Yeah.
Right. So I shared a tweet with you guys today I'm not even going to mention the person's name. It says, I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is DeSantis going full Putin. This is solely so they can start executing LGBTQ people. And this is in relation to the additions to what's been labeled that don't say gay bill, even though gay's not even mentioned in it.
Right.
She says
Parental rights and education.
parental rights and education bill. If you're queer in Florida, get out while you still can. That's what she said, and I would agree with that. Not that I'm saying you're in danger, but that's the rhetoric that's out there. They are trying to promote a false rhetoric that we're trying to kill them. No, we're not. I mean, that's not the case. But if you want to leave Florida, I'm all in favor of that.
Well, you just looking at that tweet, DeSantis is going full Putin. Then this is solely so they can start executing LGBTQ people. It is this person.
Inflammatory.
This person is either a promoter of the bullshit talking points of the left, or this person is a product of the talking points of the left.
Well, and
Because literally, this person's put everything in there. The whole Putin, boogeyman, Russia thing is in there, and then educating. Name an LGBTQ person that's been executed in Florida.
unless they've
And you're
committed
actually
murder.
saying that the governor is trying to create laws so that it can happen? This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Well, this tweet was in direct response to the fact that they're talking about running the death penalty for sex crimes against children.
I don't understand why you would be against that.
Yeah, I don't understand why
Unless
you
you're
would think
against
you
the
are.
death penalty period.
That's
Unless you're-
that's not this person.
That's not this person.
No,
This
That
person's
person
fear
would,
is
would
that
be happy to give you the death penalty.
Oh, sure.
this is a minor attracted person, a pedophile, who is scared of being killed because of this bill. That's what this is, and that's the only explanation.
Well, if this person's a pedophile, they deserve to be killed.
Sure, absolutely they do.
You know what that tweet says to me?
I'm listening.
We're winning.
Yeah.
Not because this person may or may not think that people are being executed. The culture in Florida has changed so much, and the laws and the political will has changed to where these people that can't talk to children about sex and gender, can't have little kids at drag shows, all that, are saying they have to leave the state.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask.
Bye. We're good.
We'll see you.
So Matt
Have a
said,
good one.
why is it that gays force their platform on us? I don't force my heterosexuality on anyone. But they believe that you do, just because
There's movies with hetero relationships.
normal
in it.
society is that. So they're not a part of normal society. So they believe that that is being forced on them just because that's just the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's the same way you tell somebody that Jesus loves you, and they feel like you're forcing your religion on them.
And this is why, and I think we had the conversation. I think it was a Saturday night.
Was it? I may not remember.
We have convinced ourselves of or we've tried to, right? I've said it. I think we've all said it, but for years, of whatever you do in the privacy of your own bedroom ain't any business of mine, as long as two consenting adults. And I still believe that.
Yes,
However,
absolutely.
the problem with that is there's an innate. If you are made in the image of God, there's a certain thing, right? Like whatever we consider normal, I don't like that, right?
Yeah.
But just the recreation of the species, right? The furtherance of the species. We all know what that is. And, and if you're outside of that, I feel like somewhere deep down inside of you, you know something maybe isn't just right? And maybe you're a little ashamed, maybe you're not. And you're never, and so then what's the push? Well, I'm not the weirdo. You need to accept me, right? And that's where we've missed for so long, is that we've like, well, if you do it in the privacy of your own home, and that's fine, but it was never going to stay there.
Well, the slippery slope was real, 100% real.
Because I really don't. What two consenting adults do, I really don't care about.
I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, exactly.
But I don't want you to teach my kids that.
Exactly. I don't either. And that's the thing. I mean, look, I have a much larger issue with the trans stuff than I do even the gay stuff. Because the trans stuff, you are pretending to be something you were not born as. And if you want to do that, cool. But now you're trying to force me to pretend along with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're trying to indoctrinate. And that's the only word that goes with that. It's not grooming. It's indoctrinate my child into believing that it's okay to pretend along with you.
In true reality, the majority of that stuff is fetish.
Yes.
It's not my brain is wired wrong, my gender is wrong. The great majority is a sexually satisfying fetish.
Well, I also think that we in this country have prioritized being a victim and being in some protected class. And
that's what gives them the protection and the
and
power.
And if you're an upper
and the
middle
voice.
class white person, male or female, but especially male, then you're. I mean, a lot of our society views you as the problem.
Sit down and shut
well,
up.
Let's go ahead and get into what I wanted to ask you guys tonight. If you don't,
did.
We're not there yet.
Oh, all right.
I mean, mine's a little bit more broader than just the trans stuff, and I'm not talking about the conspiratorial cabal or the powers that are leading this. What do you guys think? And I'm asking you viewers at home, the one or two of you that's with us right now. What do you think the ultimate goal for Joe Sixpack or Josephine Sixpack or Trans Sixpack? What is their ultimate goal? What are they hoping to achieve? And if they achieve it, do you think it's going to be everything that they hope it's going to be?
Well, nothing. So that's the question. We're talking about like just the normal Joe
Liberal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not talking about any conservatives right here.
We're not talking about the extreme.
What is your average leftist what do they think the outcome of all of this bullshit is going to be?
Well, it's the.
What are they
it's the
hoping
tweet
for?
We've talked about many times that. What are you going to do under communism? Like, oh, I'm going to,
Yeah, but
paint and-
obviously they either think communism's going to be just roses and rainbows and bidets shot up our asshole with Skittles, or which
That's a good idea.
they may like that, but obviously we feel differently about communism than what's going on there. What's causing this? Why do they think that communism will be okay, given the historical evidence that communism has killed more people than anything else on this planet?
And the current evidence. I mean,
The absolute
who
current
are,
evidence.
who are the people who are the most protected, that have the most ability to massage the laws, to make money outside of what they should be making money? Those people are the people who are in government, right? The
Sure,
politicians.
absolutely.
They're
But
completely
we're not
100%
talking. We're
protected.
not talking about the powers that be.
No,
we're
I
talking
understand.
about like, just right here in this neighborhood. We got a girl. Her name starts with S. She's actually left our neighborhood pages because she felt bullied because of her leftist tendencies.
Well, she started it and she got her ass whooped. That's what
She
happened.
did. But the thing is, what does she hope to accomplish? What is the end game for her?
She doesn't have an end game. See, I think that's that there is no end game with this. If you go back to Lenin, it's constant revolution,
Yes.
right? And a lot of us, I would say a vast majority of people in this country specifically, but even like we believe in there's some utopic society that's possible out there, and if everybody would just do this, right? Like libertarians will say, well, if everybody just abided by the non-aggression principle, okay, that's fine, and I agree, that would be phenomenal.
Right.
However, that's completely outside of human nature.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right. And I think so many of these folks have this idea, and if we're being honest, there's a whole lot of people that to the grand society are worthless. They don't produce anything, they don't provide a service, they don't have a purpose.
Sure.
Back in the day when you had to wake up every morning and if you wanted to eat, you had to make sure you ate, or you had to provide some good or service. There's no more of that anymore. So a lot of these people, they just want whatever power they think they can wield over someone else because they have no purpose, they have no meaning, they don't produce anything, right? And to me, that's the biggest issue in this country, is we have a bunch of people with no meaning or purpose, and they still eat, and they still eat well, and they still got a roof over their head, and they've convinced that they've been shit on because they are without meaning or purpose, even though we live in the country that you can go have any meaning and any purpose you want if you really want to go do
Yeah,
it.
they're the cause and the meaning, the reason why they
Right.
have no meaning and purpose.
Right.
But you can't convince them of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it would be terrible and awful and bad, but a economic crash where folks had to like really focus on, oh shit, how am I eating tomorrow, would probably be really good for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, socialism and communism is a government-sponsored economic crash. But the problem is because the government's the only one with guns at that point, there's nothing you can do individually to crawl out of it. You are totally reliant, and that's what they're pushing towards. And I tell you what, man, one reason I wanted to steer away from a lot of news tonight is because I'm getting blackpilled. I really am. Every time you turn on the news, it's like Disney owns half the media outlets. So in the eyes of mainstream media, DeSantis is losing the match against Disney on the whole Disney World situation. I mean, but we know because we're in the know.
Yeah, in reality, it's
It's
absolutely
absolutely the opposite.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
But
But
the
if
thing,
you ask Trump is like, DeSantis is making a fool of himself. It's like, Trump, just shut up. You're only hurting yourself.
well, and the thing is I mean, the left are making these straw man arguments, the whataboutisms, all of these debate fallacies that they use to get these points across, and just plain flat ass out misinformation. And I hate that word as much as anybody.
Just call it lies.
But basically just lying and spinning things to give the perception. And one thing that I learned in my first real management job was that perception is reality. So if you have somebody that works for you that perceives the job as unfair, regardless of what you do, unless you can change that perception, they're going to continue to believe that.
See, I disagree with that to a certain extent. It is true for that person, but their perception of reality is wrong in a lot of it.
Okay, but the thing is you've got two options. You've got to extinguish that person, or you've got to convince them otherwise. So I don't see a middle ground in there.
No,
you've got to convince them that their perception is wrong,
yeah.
or you've got to totally discount them to a degree to where their voice doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Okay. Well, what does that look like? How do you do that?
Well, hold on. Let me go back to the point. We postmodernism, I think, has been one of the most negative things for our country, culture, and society. That there's no such thing as objective truth. That that I'm living my truth.
Yeah. Well,
no. That's not reality. That is someone taking their perception and making it reality.
Right.
And you're wrong. And you're just wrong. There is subjective truth. If I take this water bottle and I do this and I take my hand off of it, it's gonna fall.
Sure.
I don't care what you think about that.
Gravity exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have gotten into this, and we've trained kids for so long that, well, this is your truth, or that and we've just got in a society where people don't care about truth. People don't care about facts. They don't care about logic. They don't care about reason. They don't care about any of this stuff, and they're just making up their own perception of reality that is just completely dead wrong. Like this person in our neighborhood, she hadn't been, if she was just a normal human being, couple of our very, very good friends are vote completely differently than we do, and believe it. We had brunch with them on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't fight you.
Yeah.
They don't attack you because you don't think the same as you.
We had a discussion about the Trump indictment, and I gave them my honest thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, okay. But
they don't judge you.
But that person is demanding that I live in her objective reality, as opposed to the subjective reality of, hey, nobody really gives a shit who you vote for. You can just be quiet about it.
With our friends aside, the big problem is this perception. They are so convinced in their leanings and their perception that they're willing to load up on a bus from somewhere that's not in this location and ride all the way to Tallahassee or Washington
that goes back
or
to
whatever.
The commitment. Somebody's putting the money behind it.
Well,
they're putting the money into some NGO.
Well, and
who's then recruiting these folks.
That brings me to Matt Boyd's point. He says constant disruption is their platform. They have no logical plan. The Joe Six-Pack liberal, you're absolutely right, Matt. They don't have a plan. They're just going with the flow.
They're pawns.
Yeah,
they're being used.
Yeah, they are being used. But the people behind it absolutely have a plan, and that's problematic. And you know what? We've mentioned it before on this podcast. They've owned us in this arena.
Well,
they own all the media outlets. They own the education systems.
Well, to Travis's point, a significant number of these people don't work. They don't have any existence. So when somebody busses them and pays them, even just a small amount, and then gives positive praise to their insane ideas, and then tells them to and unleashes them on
the problem is
capital or whatever it is.
It's not their ideas. Is where I'm going with all of this.
No, I understand that.
Those ideas have been planted.
Sure, they live in a bubble, and they've been.
And those people want to feel a part of something. And when you're standing in the Florida Capitol screaming a bunch of absolute nonsense,
yep,
you feel a part of something.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
And you're getting positive reinforcement.
These are my people,
right?
And we are standing up for the cause of killing babies, which
Yep.
is what was going on this last weekend. Yeah, it's a sad scenario, man. But you know what? It's time for beer reviews. So let me get back over here, and y'all been giving me a hard time about being and not being.
It is time for beer reviews. Beer reviews. Beer reviews.
All right, it's time for beer reviews, man. And all right, Dan had a buddy hassling him because he'd review the same beer over and over again.
Yep.
So
If
Dan,
you're a long-time listener, you know that, Travis has done it too. And to an extent, so has Wes. But probably out of all of us, I'm the one that has brought the most diversity to the beer reviews over the length of.
Well, before I went on the diet and lost the weight and gained it all back,
yeah, you were there.
I was doing a lot.
Travis
of
in the
diverse
recent passes tried to throw a few new things out there.
stuff. Sure.
And based on the economic times that we're living in, I bought a case of Yingling because
Sure.
it was the best bargain, and that's what I reviewed for a month. But I'm diversifying. I've gone out and found something that I've never had before,
Okay.
and it's actually pretty cool. And it is BrewDog's
Bushwood.
Bushwood beer, Caddyshack.
I'm gonna look up BrewDog's Twitter. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So
We don't allow gambling
Well,
in
here's the
Bushwood,
thing.
sir.
Because BrewDog did the Iron Maiden beer.
Well, they're based out of Ellen, Scotland, is their parent
Brewdog
brewery.
is?
This beer is brewed in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So, and it's a Pilsner, so it's similar to the beers that you guys normally drink. It's not a beer that I normally drink. It's like 5 ABV. It's similar to your Bud Lights and Miller Lights, etc. But it's actually pretty good.
It's good. And it's
So
got the gopher.
It's got the gopher on the can.
Right?
Kill all the
Caddyshack.
gophers. But wouldn't that be bad for business? I forget what the
Yeah,
exact line back to
yeah,
was.
that's pretty close. That's pretty close.
So, Bushwood beer.
Gunga.
I will say, I do use the line out of Caddyshack very often with my wife. Like, hey, sweetheart, you going to make $20 the hard way?
Right? One of my favorite lines, and I use it all the time, is not as far as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing this tonight? Not as far
we're
as
waiting.
Right?
Yeah.
That's another one. There's so many lines for that.
There, it's
Wang, it's a parking lot. I mean,
right, yeah.
oh, I think it's broken. I mean, there's so many lines.
So,
It's a good, great movie. Great movie.
Classic.
Cinderella story.
Classic.
Yeah, I love it. Cannonball coming. Oh man, yeah. I quite
The
especially
pool of the pond.
when I'm right. Pond be best for you. I mean, there's so many. I love it. That's one of my favorite all-time movies.
Oh, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
great. The second one sucked horribly.
No, it was
Oh,
stupid. Look. I'm going to say this hot take: Dan Aykroyd is not a funny individual. He is not funny at all.
I don't know.
And you can't bring up the Blues Brothers because John Belushi carried that movie. Just say it.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny in Tommy Boy. Aykroyd was. That's kind of
Oh,
the
where he
villain.
was the.
He was
He's
the
the
other
villain.
parts guy.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to attribute that to writing more than Aykroyd.
okay,
So.
all right, that's fine.
All right. So what you drinking over there, Trav?
Well, unbeknownst to me that Dan was getting hell for Yingling, I stopped today, and the little convenience store by our house, which there was a wreck. I didn't witness it, but I heard it and turned around. I saw the car still playing bumper cars. They just have the worst beer selection.
The farms.
Well, I've got
Yeah.
inside information on that. I'll fill you in a minute when you get done with your review.
And so, and I bet you 80% of that store is an Anheuser-Busch product.
Sure.
So it was very limited. And there was a local beer. I just don't like that local beer. The one that everybody likes, the beach one.
No, man.
It's just not very
It's
good.
shit. It's
Yeah.
absolute shit.
So I was left with buying Yingling.
Ah.
So
Well, so inside story on that place. I know one of the guys that works there. Well, I see him in there regularly. They actually, since just before COVID, and when all the supply chain stuff started, They just basically have to take whatever the beer guys bring. They
Right.
don't order beer anymore.
Huh.
The beer guys show up and put the shit in the store.
Well, that's like the Cefco up the road. If you ever gone in there and try to find Miller Lite, there's like two things of Miller Lite. But there is Modelo everywhere. Every pack size, every can, bottle, 16, 25.
A lot of
Playing to
construction
their
guys.
customer base. Playing
A
to
lot
their
of
customer.
construction guys.
Look, I
Give
get
the
it.
people what they want.
Hey, I understand. You know the little restaurant right across the road there, little not
Oh,
Hardee's,
yeah,
but
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
customer of mine and sent one of my guys in. Needed him to go ask that guy a question. I called him and was like, "Hey man, did you have a chance to stop by that place?" And he said, "Man," he's like, "I couldn't get there till like 12:30, and every backpack blower and weed eater in South Walton was there."
Well, because you can get a meat and two sides for like
Yeah.
$6. or
Yeah,
something.
That really is the only home cooking restaurant in the area.
I was like, that is a very clear and succinct way to, talk about the clientele of that place.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's like that at 6:50 a.m. too. Cause
Oh yeah, you're getting a biscuit. The biscuits are good. Man.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. So the consecutive show in which Yingling was reviewed lives on.
there
Correct.
you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Travis keeping the streak alive.
An even longer streak. I'm drinking Miller Lite just because. Hey, I really thought I had more of the Sweetwaters left from Saturday night.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize I drank as many as I drank, and
Did you already drink the other three?
no, they're still in there. I didn't bring a cooler, so I have to get up and go get beer, and I'm about to do that shortly. But I had to scrounge in my own fridge because I didn't have time to run the store and grab beers. So I had Miller Lights, so that's why I'm drinking that.
Your buddy Matthew said they brewed a pineapple beer out here at the local brewery. It tasted like a sock. I'm sorry to hear that.
He lives in Arizona,
Why are you tasting socks, man? Like, anyways.
right?
I'd argue what this is sock tastes like.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
So, like, what kind of sock?
Well, it's funny because I went to the place next to where you are running for re-election for mayor,
Yes.
and and they have a very big and diverse beer selection.
Yes.
And
For a grocery store. Oh no, you're
No,
talking
no.
about the other place in between the
in
grocery.
between your mayoral campaign and
Right.
and the grocery store,
I got you.
there's a whole bunch of different beers, and then you go. I went in there and I'm like, everything now is a fruit
oh yeah.
sour,
Yeah.
and I'm like, can you put all the fruit stuff over here,
Yeah.
and then put your IPAs and your porters
Well,
and
everything
and
now
this
is like it's got like this is a orange passion fruit 90-minute. I'm like,
Well, they're trying to do what they
Wait,
did
wait,
with
wait,
the
wait. Now,
seltzers.
you're talking about Dogfish now. That's a good beer.
no.
No.
60, 90 minute.
No,
I'm
there's
just-
but,
I'm-
but
I'm,
there's
I'm just throwing all the descriptors. I'm like 8 words in. I'm like, what is this beer?
Or
Like,
is
can I
but
just?
there's brands out there.
said the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, like
There's brands out there that I never heard of. So
Sure.
a lot of people are coming into it. But like a lot of the new ones, they're either some kind of fruity beer or it's $16 for a 4-pack.
Right?
And I'm like, I see $15.99
Yeah.
for a 4-pack. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Right? That's ridiculous.
Like when I can buy a case of Yingling for like $20,
What's the ABV on the 4-pack though?
I don't
it's
care if it's
typically north of
100.
10, but
I don't care if it's 100.
All right.
It's still to me not worth.
well, 100% you'd be buying pure alcohol.
I understand.
Yep.
I'm
If you find
exaggerating.
that, please
I'm
buy it.
exaggerating to make it.
And I'll give you the $16.
All right, but if it's 10 or 11,
Well,
like even the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale, which I like a lot,
yes.
it's like $14.99
Oh, yeah.
for a 4-pack
Yeah, it's
of
ridiculous.
12-ounce bottles.
Absolutely.
I'm not buying it.
There it is.
I'm not buying it.
Okay.
You're
Hey, you don't have to, but
you're not the intended consumer.
I bought it.
you have
I
my
bought,
permission.
I bought 2
Right.
6-packs,
Yep.
and it was $25.
Dude, how long are you going to talk about this?
2 6-packs today, $25.
All right, we got
and that
you.
was the cheapest beer there, aside from Well, I think Bud Light was on sale.
I'm
sure.
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 They're probably giving that shit away. Hey, you know what? We're not doing as much news stuff, but let's do a little news stuff. All right, Dan, what you got on the news, buddy?
Shit.
See, you got.
Okay, so
Caught him off
apparently
guard.
there was a very big settlement today.
Yeah.
Y'all hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, in which Fox News settled with Dominion voting machines for, I guess, about half of what they were asking for. Everybody's freaking out like, oh my God, it's $750 million that you settled for. Well, they saved 50% by settling.
Right.
And I think this was one of those situations where if you actually follow it and get in deep, this is a situation in which Fox, there was so much that Fox wasn't allowed to talk about in Discovery and that was thrown out, that they realized pretty early on it was going to be a losing battle.
Kind of stacked up against them a little bit.
So we're just going to... And normally when you have a settlement like that, and this is where I think Fox may have messed up, and maybe they couldn't, but normally you get the other side to kind of shut up. Like, here, take your money and be quiet.
Yeah.
They took the money and they're out in front of the microphone saying, this is a victory and a vindication and Dominion voting system. Like, your systems were shit. Like, if you look at the Discovery in that, there was the ability for it to be manipulated. There was the ability for it to be hacked. It was so many mistakes. Your voting system is shit. It always has been shit. It always was shit. And no private company should have that power anyway. But that all got lost. And now all you hear is people on the left are like literally their answer is, well, if you counter something that they say with something else, they're like, well, yeah, your news source. They just assume you would listen to Fox or watch Fox. Your news source just admitted to lying and settled for $750 million for lying.
Well, that was the purpose. I mean,
Yeah.
it was to get them in the court, in a friendly court, a friendly venue, and to actually get them to settle.
And I can tell you, I'm not a Fox News person.
No.
I do not watch Fox News. I don't ever watch it on TV, but the only time I even refer to Fox stuff is a Tucker Carlson clip. That's it.
Yeah.
No Laura Ingraham, no fucking Hannity with this same shit every day.
Getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's Tucker would be the only one that I would ever get any information from, because, I mean, Tucker's legit.
Yeah. Outside of the lawsuit and the ramifications of 2020, all that stuff, right? As a country, we are counting votes using a electronic system that can be hacked, that can do all that, and their servers are offshore.
Right.
They're not even, so to me, like there's lots of ways to go fight this legislatively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what I think of the 2020 election, it ain't changing, right?
Right.
It's the Dominion stuff, whether there was good information or not, right? Whether there was proof that it was doing this or doing that or not, that it's irrelevant at this point. But red states could just pass laws that say, all right, if you want us to use your voting machines, your servers will be housed here on our National Guard base.
Well, yeah, absolutely. What they really need to do is house them in the individual states. They should have
Well, that's what I'm
servers in
saying.
all 50 states.
If you want to provide voting machines to the state of Florida, that's cool. Your servers are housed in Florida on a National Guard base or whatever, but something that the state
in
controls.
a closed system,
In a closed system,
which
right? You know,
this was not a closed system.
no, it's not. And so, like, to me, it's not even some big loss. Like, it's not even. It really just points out that
It's a huge talking point for the idiots on Twitter.
right.
Sure.
So I mean it's inconsequential because you can do simple legislation that completely takes Dominion out of it.
Yeah.
And it's simple, and it they always talk about creating jobs and doing this and bringing revenue. Well, now you got to bring all these servers into the state of Florida, and you got to pay us rent to house it at the National Guard base, so it's under constant protection.
Yeah.
So we're driving revenue.
Sure.
It like those simple things, and my problem is, and we've talked about, the superhero, thing that I feel like us on the right, and it's always got to be some, like Marvel Avengers Endgame type deal.
Right.
When there's really simple things you can do to make Dominion completely irrelevant in your state, or force them into making the doing the right thing of somebody who's counting our votes. Force them to that point. Okay, well, great. You just got an extra $750 million. You want to provide voting machines to us? That's awesome. Here's where you're going to put them. Here's the rent you're going to pay for me, and these are the only servers you can be used. And we're going to have, a third party, whatever. Like, here's all the things you can do to count the votes in our state.
Right.
But there's no lawsuit. There's no anything Dominion can do, and you can just run them out of your state, or you can make it the system that it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, and that's the kind of shit we have to start thinking about. We have to start focusing on, okay, well, this lawsuit, it's this, it's that, whatever. Dominion's bad. I agree with it. How do we fix it? Real simple. Like, just super simple. And this is what we're doing. Period. End of story.
Yeah. Well, and
it can be a 2-page bill, and we move on.
Yeah, it's that simple. You handle it legislatively. You force fairness, and you alleviate any of the issues that's been going on with this stuff. That's absolutely right. What else you got, Dan?
So, on Twitter, you used to be they used to suspend you or make you take tweets down, etc., for misgendering or dead naming transgendered individuals. Well, that's gone. They've gotten rid of that from their user terms of service. So the dead naming, if you don't know what that is, that means you're using the correct name for the person. So Bruce Jenner is an example of dead naming.
Right.
So when
you think when he's hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, they call him Bruce or Caitlin?
Dude, the guys that do that, they've gone viral, but they hang out on a golf course and they just roast people while they're on the tee, and they roast pro golfers. They play golf with Bruce Jenner, and they were like, I mean, do you find is your backswing easier now that you don't have a dick? I mean, they are roasting his ass.
Titties are in the way.
But he's roasting them back, and it's hilarious. But yeah. Anyway, to your point, fuck, I don't know.
So they've eliminated this now from Twitter policy.
Good.
Which, to me, just eliminates something that never should have been there in the first place.
Well, right. It's like I was talking about earlier, forcing us to play along, and that's through social media. FBI on Twitter, they were forcing us to play along.
So,
I wish we had some of those clips from Tucker's interview, and maybe we'll play them in the audio stream, which is why you should come back. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the reaction from the left is quite interesting. So a lady named Sarah Kate Ellis, who's the president and CEO of GLAAD, which is the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation.
Right.
Her response was, and this is a quote, Twitter's decision to covertly roll back its longtime policy is the latest example of just how unsafe the company is for users and advertisers alike. This decision to roll back LGBTQ safety pulls Twitter even more out of step with TikTok, Pinterest, and Meta, which all maintain similar policies to protect their transgender users at a time when anti-transgender rhetoric online is leading to real-world discrimination and violence. Who the fuck got killed? Where's the violence?
The trainee got killed for shooting up a school.
Yeah.
But
after the trainee executed 6 Christians.
There's no violence against.
Like literally none. So then you had the swimmer. Is it Riley Gaines?
Yeah. Riley Gaines.
She goes to talk on the San Francisco State University campus to talk to people.
There's your first mistake.
Well,
I mean,
listen,
I'm not picking on her, but
there is people. Why can't you go to a college and talk? There's conservatives that live there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
but it's in San
That's the
Francisco.
problem.
They
Get the hell out. But
if she was not protected, they may have killed her.
yeah,
No doubt they may have killed her. I mean, that was did you see the video?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Oh,
brutal
oh,
against
yeah.
her. Yeah.
look,
The violence is on the other side.
maybe I have the wrong thought about it, but it is quite literally like you just got to pick and choose your battles. We talked about it with the Trump indictment and where you're going to go protest and should you be able to go to University of Cal Berkeley and give an honest speech with your honest thoughts? Absolutely, you should.
Yes.
That's just not reality.
No, it's not.
Like, does it suck? Is it terrible? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there probably people who think and vote like us at these universities?
Sure.
Yeah. Why the hell are you doing it in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Like that's my
Where
first
it's
question.
legal to
Well,
take
she
a
was
dump on the
invited.
streets.
So
No,
there's a
I'm not talking about
Republican
her.
group there
I'm
that's
talking
involved.
about the Republican group. Like, what are you going to do? Like, are you gonna take over this campus and do what?
Right?
And again, like
So
we've talked about it many times.
So the
there's
Republican people who go to school there should just shut up.
no, they just shouldn't go to school there.
No, they should leave.
That's my point.
Yeah. Why are you a conservative going to the most liberal school in the country? And by most liberal, that's actually saying something because 99% of them are liberal
Well,
institutions.
and then the college came out and backed the protest. Oh, it was mostly peaceful
And none of them have been charged or won't be charged.
correct.
Yeah.
No, they won't.
So I mean, it's the same reason you probably don't just go to some third world country and with a wad of $10,000 in cash.
Right.
It's just reality. Should it be that way? No, it shouldn't.
No.
However, it's just reality. So
Well,
you
I'll
got a
never
bunch of
forget.
conservative and Republican parents sending their kids there. I'm sure San Francisco State's probably 50, 60 grand a year, so they're spending $250,000 to have their kid deal with that shit.
Right. My first year of having a locker in grade school, teacher said, get a lock because if something gets stolen out of your locker, it's your fault. And that took me a long time to wrap my head around. But it was a lesson in defensive positioning. You don't walk into the ghetto, like you said, wearing gold chains with your wallet hanging out.
Yeah, because we're not a utopia and we never will be.
You,
People will not leave each other alone.
No, and the thing is she went there to speak, and I'm not blaming her. The people who attacked her are thuggish, and they do not want liberty. They are craving
Well,
a boot on their neck.
Let me read. Our friend Kat had a good comment. There's a couple things I want to talk about in there. She said there are more of us than them. Okay,
Yeah.
let's define us. Us are people that vote like us, or us people that are active and willing to go do something. So
Yeah, that's the key.
And if it's the second us, then we're way outnumbered because you just talked about busts of people being rolled in over parental rights bill
Yeah.
in Tallahassee.
Yeah, we do not have activists on our side.
And she goes on, and we need to start saying something and sticking up for ourselves. They are just bullies, as is our administration. And what do you do to bullies? Just my opinion. And I agree. Well, you do. In a fair society where you can actually stand up for yourself. In San Francisco, you can't do that.
No. Well, and that's where I was going with my point is she has a great message and a logical, sound message.
And it's not
That's
even
the
political.
wrong. That's the wrong venue for it.
It's not even political or partisan. She's
Because
just like,
she never got
Yeah,
to
I mean,
got to get
like,
her message. out.
It's a 2003 feminist argument.
Well,
she's
what
making.
would have happened if that trans person punched her in the face and then Gaines beat the living shit out of her right there?
Gaines
in
would've
front
went to
of
jail.
everybody?
Gaines would have gone to jail. The other girl wouldn't have,
Yep.
or a guy. Let's
Yeah,
clarify.
The guy wouldn't.
And again, we have a country because George Washington was the best in absolute history at the tactical retreat. Tactical retreat is not a surrender.
No.
The tactical retreat is, hey, I'm going to have a really hard time winning here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Live to fight another day.
And I move on and I fight on more favorable
Save
ground from a more
resources.
favorable spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my view on it. I'm just that. Yeah. Look, California's lost. It ain't coming back.
I think the problem you have is there's people that out there that are genuinely believe that they can change people's minds, and I think that's what Riley's thinking.
Sure.
That listen, she's presenting her argument from a position of she's the victim.
Yeah, she absolutely is the victim.
And she goes out there and
Well, on
she
multiple
thinks
fronts.
that
She was the one that lost to the Thomas dude.
yeah finished second, and she the best female swimmer in the world,
Yeah.
Yes.
like hands down, and she lost in her own country's college finals
Right.
to a guy.
Right.
She's the victim.
Yep.
So she is going out there from the standpoint of I'm right and I'm fighting for my position.
My rights, yeah.
Yeah. And the reality of it is if you're attacking the guy in the dress, you can't out-victim that person.
Right.
Yeah.
That person trumps you in victimhood because they got the fucking Joker or whatever trump card, no pun intended,
All right.
to override you.
I can assure you they
This
didn't buy
whole-
any of the Trump
this-
trading cards.
This whole argument of women's sports versus trans is insane.
Yeah.
But there's another thing that I think about a lot when I see this stuff. The average American sees this kind of stuff and doesn't like it. The average just, hey, maybe we turn on the news, maybe I glance at the newspaper in the gas station, I go on about my life, those types of things.
Right.
And you know, the old war idiom or whatever, that's twice I've used idiom in the
Yeah,
same
look
show.
at
That's pretty awesome.
you.
College word
but
of the day.
you know, like anyways, you
Sun
don't
Tzu.
yeah, right. Don't interrupt your enemy when your enemy's making a mistake.
Right.
And this is the stuff that is appalling to people. Maybe even Democratic voters. Maybe even folks that said, okay, yeah, gays should get married. But when they start to see this kind of stuff, they're looking around, and I've had multiple conversations with multiple folks like, hey man, I'm cool with, you know, whatever, doing your own thing, but maybe this is a little too far. And so, hey, you want to do all this in California and all that? That's cool. Protect your home base in Florida, which we're doing.
Yep.
You know, I had a tweet pulled up, and I sent it to you guys, and it's from Equality Florida, which I'll read their bio. Securing full equality for Florida's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. That's their Twitter bio. And exactly 1 week ago today, they tweeted, today we took the extraordinary step of issuing a travel advisory, warning of the risks posed to the health, safety, and freedom of those considering short or long-term travel or relocation to the state. And as an organization that has spent decades working to improve Florida's reputation as a welcoming, inclusive place to live, work, and visit, it's with great sadness that we must respond to those asking if it's safe to travel to or remain in Florida as laws strip away basic rights and freedoms. While losing conferences and top students who have written off Florida threatens lasting damage to our state, it is most heartbreaking to hear from parents who are selling their homes and moving because school censorship, book bans, and healthcare restrictions have made their home state less safe for their children.
Can I say one more time that there is no book banned in the state of Florida? They're just not available to children.
Yeah.
That's different than a book ban.
See, and I really do hate if people don't necessarily feel welcome, but hey, your ridiculous ideology and what you're trying to force on little kids isn't welcome.
Right.
So I
Get
think,
up.
yeah, I mean, I sent it to you guys and like, hey, hashtag winning.
Yeah. Don't
I-
let the door hit you in the ass. This is my fault.
If you are so upset that you can't chop off little kids' genitals and talk to 5 to 8 year olds about sex and gender, I don't want you in my state. I don't want to share a society with you.
Right.
So that's where we start, right? And
Well, and that's what Kat said in her last comment. I don't know if she's still watching, but she did say.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I read the first little bit. I didn't get to read all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Kat's wrong. I'm just saying we just have to. You got to survey the battlefield.
Right.
And if your enemy is making a mistake, which I believe this trans stuff is way too far for a vast majority of Americans,
Yeah. It's a losing battle.
The Bud Light thing, there's lots of polls from Rasmussen's, all this coming out saying that like 60+% of Americans are fine with a boycott, and like 90% like feel like Budweiser shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Right, and so, and I don't want to interrupt my enemy. Hey, no, you ain't gonna do it here.
Yep.
And when you try to do it in Fort Walton, I hope the governor comes down and just closes the place down.
Sure.
However, you want to go doing all your craziness over there, that's fine. Do it in your little backyard. Don't bring it here.
Exactly. Well, guys, we're out of town.
We're out of town?
We're out of town and out of time. Sorry. My lips.
Looks familiar.
My mouth's dry.
Too much talking about a beer drink.
Yeah, right. And I that's the problem of not having a cooler right next to me. I don't have easy access to the beer. But hey, we want to thank you in advance for sharing the podcast. Share it with your friends and family. We are indeed Shadow Band. So the only way we can get the word out about the cast is if you share it with your friends and family. Share it on all social media platforms. We are available on all social media platforms. So go find us there and follow us. Like and engage. Make comments. Share it with your friends. And if you want to go the next step, you can go to patreon.com/Driveway Liberty Podcast and actually sponsor the cast.
Hey, we talk about we're in a battle.
Yeah.
You need to support the people who are fighting the battle.
Absolutely. And you need to be your own hero. Speaking of which, we launched a new merch line last week called Be Your Own Hero. We have everything from buttons. Let me see if I can...
I had too much to drink and left mine here at Dan's house.
Right? Yeah, you did.
I saved it.
But we have T-shirts. They're really nice quality shirts. We have buttons. We've got caps. But it's You Be a Hero. Can you read that? Can you see that? You could go out to thedrivewaylibertypodcast.com/merch and check out the new product line, man. It's really cool. I think it's a great design, if I do say so myself. As I'm the one that
You are the
designed it.
hero you're looking for.
Right. You are the hero you're looking for. Absolutely. So with that being said, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the Driveway Liberty Podcast. We will see you next week. We have a very special announcement next week, so you definitely want to tune in. And also listen to our audio cast. It usually comes out around Tuesday, give or take. So with that being said...
Sometime between like Monday at noon
and Wednesday morning.
at 3:45.
Right. Yep. I am your Uncle Wes for Travis and Dan. We'll see you next time on the Driveway Liberty Podcast.